No, I'm actually going to attempt to do this without the mic.
Oh, hey!
Because,
You're admitting from the start.
okay, this is actually one of the biggest days of my life, so I'd like to thank you for coming. I'd also like to say, firstly, on behalf of the bridesmaids, who I have to admit look absolutely beautiful and rather surprisingly sober. Both of them, very surprising to me there. I know that Philip's words were very kind there, and I thought it actually today would be very difficult to follow my brother. I was right, I couldn't follow the bloody word. Now, I have to say, it's supposed to be there, a little babunch cymbal sign, a little drum. Unfortunately, I got MWS on the job. Never go cheap, and Johnny Lane was the person doing the drumming, so obviously his timing was going to be out. When Phil asked me to be the best man today, it was quite an emotional moment. In this new technological world we live in, he did it the only way that he thought suitable. He texted me. He didn't just text me the correct words, Dave, I want you to be my best man. He actually did it in a cryptic text. Whilst sitting next to me, whilst I was trying to watch England play football, and he wanted me to work it out. I can't really realise why he decided to do that, but he did. I've had the privilege of being best man twice before. The first couple are still together, and they've had one child. The second couple are still together, and they've had 2 children. And Phil and Lou, I think, are the most important couple that I've ever had the privilege of doing this for, and perhaps that trend will continue. I know that Phil likes to practice and that he spends hours online researching new techniques. Seriously though, I think you'll all agree that when they do decide to be parents, they will be phenomenal parents, and their love for children is always very evident whenever Lou's sister's children are around. Anyway, because it's been a little bit of time since I've been a best man, I decided to go and get myself a book to help myself out. That says The Best Man Book. It's actually covering a book that says, don't mention the score. I am going to mention the score. It was 1-0, it's Fellaini, I'm ad-libbing. I never thought I'd get to this point. Fantastic. Yes, to Everton. Can we have a round of applause, please? That myself. Anyway, I checked this up and I'm going to read now because I had to put the 10 most important points in order. The first one is bring a checkbook or credit card for those payments that the groom may have forgotten. Well, knowing Phil's famous problems, poor organisational skills and that ability to forget the wallet, I remortgaged the house and stole some more of Man's money. It might cover it. The little bastard today disappeared during the groom's lunch, which he was going to buy for everyone. I ended up buying for everyone. Didn't even have his bloody... Ben, correction on the pronunciation there. Secondly, on the night before the wedding, make sure the groom is well looked after and gets a good night's sleep. This was number 2. This was number 2 in the book, and it doesn't say anything for insomniacs. It doesn't say anything for going home at 5 o'clock in the morning. It doesn't say anything from stealing Charlie's bed from upstairs, getting it down the corridors and putting it in the bottom bathroom. I've written here, where was it? I am proud to report that Phil slept like a baby last night, about 4.5 hours sleep, waking every 30 minutes crying for mum. Actually, he had very little sleep and did most of that this afternoon. Fortunately, Phil being Phil, we had lots of people trying to ring him last night and wish him best luck today. But he had his phone on silent, as most of you will know, and didn't answer it once. If you've ever tried contacting him, it's impossible. Worst businessman ever. Thirdly, help the groom dress himself. A tricky one, this, you'd think, for a man of 33, it'd be nice and easy. But this is the person who walked into the barber's with a picture of David Beckham and said, I want to look like this. Still not sure about that gay feeling he has. Fourthly, ensure that the groom uses the toilet. I have to admit a slight lapse there of duty. There were no magnifying glasses available in the toilets, so make sure that he drip dried appropriately, did his flies up, and didn't dribble anywhere. Fifth, bring a medical bag suitable for the groom. I decided on the following essentials in case of emergency. Number 1, aspirin. 2, hanky. 3, paracetamol. 4, hanky. Number 5, Lemsip. 6, hanky. Number 7, deodorant. Number 8, hanky. Number 9, Valium. Here's the medical bag. Made a massive mistake leaving it next to Nan. All the pills have gone. All I've got are these bloody hankies. However, she looks very happy. Okay, I think you'll agree that Phil has managed to get through the day without sneezing or having a cold. Obviously, without having to take any pills either. Please, nobody sneeze today. No cough, no sneeze, nowhere near him. He claims it's some sort of allergy thing that he gets. He gets colds in his head, and he gets colds in his body. He's been sleeping in a Michael Jackson oxygen tent for the last 2 months just to get through the day. Going through these 5 points, I think you'll agree. I think Mum should have been the best man in keeping most of those in control. But this afternoon, I think Lou looked absolutely stunning. I think you'll all agree that. The groom just looked stunned and like he just won the lottery. Of course, there is no doubt that marriage is a wonderful thing. It is supposed to be pure and simple. I think we had that today. Lou is pure, Phil is a really nice guy. Okay. Oh, I also checked in the book, and when it came up to number 6, it said no mother-in-law jokes. Number 7, no homophobic or nationalist jokes. Mac, you're now safe.
I knew that was coming.
Number 8, check with the groom that any stories he doesn't want mentioned. I did this last weekend and I promised not to mention the following things. Don't mention the hemorrhoids, and how Helen calls them asteroids, and how he once burst all the blood vessels in his face straining to go to the loo. 2, don't mention when he shaved his testicles because he was bored and lonely because the rest of them had come up to my house and he was out. 3, don't mention any embarrassing family nicknames. How Helen calls him Rexy because he's so thin. I call him the little brown puff. Mum calls him half job, and as he mentioned earlier, Dad's particular favourite, the little sock. Phil has always been great though. He even took the blame once when Dad was upstairs in the bath. We were playing football in the garden. I hit a spectacular volley straight into the shed window from the bathroom. Philip, you little sod! Brilliant. He didn't even bother saying it was there. Please don't mention how he's a bad loser at board games, card games, in fact any games, and that he only supports Manchester United because they win. Sorry. Yes, please don't mention porn shopping with Tom in Australia, porn shopping with Mac in Paris, porn shopping with Ben in Glasgow, porn shopping with Pete in Thatcher.
P-A-W-N.
Keep the information about the stag do brief, but tease the audience. Firstly, Dad, Wayne, Mac, Phil, Ben, Stephen, Duncan, all of you owe a shot or a forfeit. You put empty glasses down earlier. I saw you, that's one of the lads. Secondly, how the venue was spoiled the night before. What are the chances? I mean, we managed to keep it a complete secret for about 3 months. I have to now say my thanks to Matt for helping me organise it, but we were fantastic. What are the chances that 1, Phil goes to the gym, secondly, it's an activity that he likes called body pump, where lots of girls jiggle up and down in front of him, he stands at the back just to firm up. And after all that hard work, he popped to the local shop next to the gym to get his ration of flapjack, where Alex's mum was in there and went, "Oh, enjoy your stag do in Edinburgh tomorrow." Slightly gutted about that. Thirdly, in the stag do, I think he enjoyed dressing up as far too much. He appreciated the mankini. He loved it when all of the girls on the train took it in turn to stretch it up to the ceiling. He particularly enjoyed dressing up, as he mentioned earlier, as Michael Jackson with his hand on his privates in the middle of Edinburgh, waiting for somebody other than one of the lads on the stag do to go and put some money in. Thirdly, Mac, how were we to know that there would be revolutionary medical discoveries on our stag do? Who'd have thought it? Plastic golf balls under the chin instantly cures back problems. Even better, a bra on the head cures all problems. I also had the opportunity to ask some of the married couples the secret of their success. While most of them said, keep with variety, don't let things go stale, Wayne said, Viagra. It's a man with 6 children. Number 10, and this is the last one. Give a brief account of how you know the bride and groom and provide evidence of the happiness they are to share in the future. Phil was born in 1978, which was also the year that gave us one of Phil's favourite films, not Superman, Grease. And also it was the year that Argentina won the World Cup. So it is true, shit things happened in Greece. Phil was also in a massive hurry to be born. In fact, he only just made it out of the ambulance in time to get into the hospital. I think Mum is the only person who got morning sickness after. Growing up, it's only natural that Phil copied me in the key social areas of music, sport, TV and film. The genius of Star Wars, the commitment of 6 years of Lost, the sounds of Oasis, and the experience of Live 8 and the 5-1 Thrashing journey. Obviously, some of Phil's experimental phases were not continued into his adulthood. The 2 weeks of judo, the basketball against the wall until little Sod was again shouted out, the skateboard phase, and the going into the town dressed in jeans back to front because he wanted to resemble Chris Cross. Matt, I think you were influencing him during that stage. And obviously, he's mentioned Richard couldn't come. The real reason which Richard disclosed at the stag do was the fact that he thought the dress code was too difficult for him to adhere to. And then there's Mac. Mac has been a brilliant friend to Philip. So much so when they were travelling over, they'd obviously secretly aged to be on the same plane, and Mac and Maria very kindly bought them a bottle of champagne, asked the stewardess to go down and give it to Phil. Phil, doing the gracious thing, was obviously very keen to open it and share all the love that was going on. Well, he did. He said, sorry, it's a bit early, can you put it in the fridge, but I will have the chocolates. Now, many of you think that Phil is a very confident fella, but he actually suffers from a lot of nerves. I think this morning was very evident to all of us, the tension and the emotion and the fears that Phil has. But I actually think he's very brave. I can remember when he was younger, he was very, very scared of spiders. So what he used to do is he used to catch them in a box, not too dissimilar to this, put it on the side of the bookcase and wait for days until the spider was virtually dead from suffocation before he pulled legs off one at a time. He also has a massive fear of dogs. This is probably a story that some people have heard before, but in Portugal in 1993, we were sat around a group of 15 to 20 of us by the pool. Out of nowhere, a huge, massive dog came strolling over towards us. Phil started to brick it. It's fair to say that everybody else was quite pleased to see the dog. Phil got up. The dog thought, someone to play with. Phil took off like Mo Farah on Heat and started running around the pool. The dog thought he was playing and chased Phil. Phil continued to run. Lap 3 of the pool with the dog following him, he decided to head for the restaurant. And we thought, he hasn't come back yet. We found Phil stood on a table in the restaurant with the dog barking at the bottom. Now I've gone to a lot of trouble and I found that dog. This is purely proportional. I've got it on my lead. Do you want to know the frightening sounds that it made? Yes. And it moves. And it's pissed. Okay. Also, Phil has already gone into some detail about Sleepless the Band, so I would like to sort of like put my thanks to Dave Lester for being a psycho, Paul for looking about 12, and for Johnny to always disappear 5 minutes after the gig had finished, leaving Phil and Lou with their private time and time to spend together. Lou is always fantastically supportive, especially that's one of the first couple of occasions when I met her, probably slightly worse for wear, possibly with my shirt around my head or on rare occasions my trousers. I think the love that they have for each other is amazing, and Lou really does stand by her man. And one of the occasions that I think of most fondly was when we were in a curry house. And we were sat down and Phil had had, way too much. 2 pints. And for some reason got an attack of the giggles. Now most people just laugh when they get an attack of the giggles. Not Phil. He was sick all over the table. I did the brotherly thing and picked up a pint glass and scraped all the sick into the pint glass. Promptly gave it to Lou and said, "Can you get rid of it?" Lou, walking over to the toilet, was stopped by the waiter. "Can I help you?" "What is that?" Lou's reply was, "I'm pregnant, get over it." Which was a sign of her love. Philip went outside and continued to be sick, and Lou thankfully managed to recover and get rid of the puking gloves. Contrary to Phil's perving, Lou has more than 2 remarkable qualities. One of which, thank goodness, is a well-developed sense of humour. She is going to need that. But it would take a trip to my house before I truly realised it. I would like to say at this point, Lou arrived on about a Friday night, and I thought to myself, we might as well stay in. I thought, have a look at my video library, and I sneakily put a couple of Duff films on there to see if she'd pick one, and I said, have a look at what you'd like to choose. She picked out the Alien Quadrilogy, which I thought was a good choice. I think actually she liked the sparkly green box set that was in, and was kind of expecting some of those bloody sequins that she always puts in the cars to drop out when she opened it. She put the first film on, and as soon as it had finished, she said, "What's the second one like?" And I thought, that's quite impressive. Woke up the next morning, and when I came downstairs, Alien 3 was on. And I thought, then I thought, this will test her. Lou, a trip down to the Cooper's Arms to watch the first FA Cup. She was there, first to the bar, quality not seen in film by many, buying drinks, and sat down and watched the football. When we got back, she put on Alien 4. I thought, the force is strong with this one. It's going to be good. As she returned the box set to the bookshelf, she said, "Is Predator any good?" I felt, this is fantastic. However, she did manage to fall asleep during the loudest scene, and I thought, she's not quite a Jedi yet. Lou's family values are very similar. I know Philip has spoken about how close myself, Helen and Philip are as brothers and sisters. I think we are genuinely quite unique in that we are exceptionally close, and I feel that Lou is like having another sister, and I'm very pleased that I also have another brother, Liam. I think that Lou also shares those social traits that I mentioned earlier. I think we have very similar music, that we both like Take That, Admit That, edit please. We also both love The Sopranos, and when it comes to supporting football teams, there's only one colour, blue is the colour. I especially love the fact that Lou is by far and away the most reliable person in updating me with football scores through text. Again, Philip doesn't have his phone on. Lou loves Chelsea, and in particular that excellent role model, Mr. Chelsea, John Terry. I have to warn you, Phil, in his absence in the Champions League final, Lou was eyeing up the other talent. I hear she was very impressed with the Germans and how they could be on top for 120 minutes and still come second. Over the head of never mind. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm coming to the end of the speech now, and before that I was very impressed with Mac's ability to read from the Bible. I've managed to get a very short 5-lined prayer. I will do the reading, but it's for you to take away as well. Ben and Matt are now going to distribute these.
No point. Max got my jacket.
I haven't finished! Go away, you're spoiling my speech! I haven't finished! Okay. I think Phil, as I said, was very emotional when he, one, told me about being best man, but even probably more emotional when he said to me that he was going to propose to Lou. It was a very big moment. He said it and instantly burst out crying, and in my manly brotherly way I cried as well. And I think his thoughts can be summed up with this very short prayer. I'm gonna make a change. Oh, what's in my life? It's gonna feel real good. It's gonna make a difference. Only one person can sing. I'm glad that the meal is being provided not by Phil. The last little story I'd like to tell him. He managed to once make one of Lou's homemade lasagnas last a whole week. He put it in the freezer, defrosted it, and had it in the microwave every single night. On one occasion, Lou said, "Are you going to return the favour?" She left out all the ingredients for a lasagna. Phil managed to put the meat and the pasta in a pan, in an oven, forgetting the onion and the white sauce. Lou returned home to the burning smell of pasta, and he said, "Well, you didn't write that down, that I had to put it in the pan." So Phil, I thought next time that you are actually in the kitchen, there's a little treat from Italy. Thought, again, remind you of me, it's David. By Michelangelo. It's been a pleasure to act as a spokesman for such a lovely group. I'd also like to thank everybody here involved with the hospitality, as I've just said, and Sorrento will always be a very, very special place in all of our hearts, in particular for me. As a man who will drink to absolutely anything, I'd be grateful if you could all give me an excuse to raise my glass one more time. Philip, I've always been very, very proud of you. I'm inspired by both yours and Lou's and Helen's and Liam's relationships and the way that you give your hearts to each other unconditionally. One last piece of advice for you, Phil. Whenever you're wrong, admit it. Whenever you're right, shut up. Ladies and gentlemen, may the force be with them always. With you, Mr. and Mrs. White, to Phil and Lou. Rosanna, you're on.